Welcome to Daily Gains. I'm Dave Joseph,
I'm Jeremy.
and we're excited to share the word with you as we meditate on the truth that is before us. So let's get started. 1 John 2:6. The one who says that he remains in him ought himself also to walk just as he walked.
The one who says he remains in him ought himself also to walk just as he, that being Jesus, walked.
God bless the reading, hearing, and living out of his word.
Dave, is John just telling us to play follow the leader?
Play? I think we make the mistake of trying to make life a game. I would not say play. I would say do. I would say be, but I don't know about play.
Well, what about the fact that John opens us up by saying, my dear children?
I would say that there is the opportunity to engage with God in a way that is playful
Mm-hmm.
by going to tough places, relaxing, loving people, not fixing them, but loving them. I think there is space to play there. I think there is space to play by giving sacrificially and laughing because it does hurt so much.
True?
Again, doing it as Jesus walked, going to the places that your pastor might blush at to share life and to invite people to Christ, invite people to fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Zacchaeus. I'm going to your house. Let's go eat. To the point where people think you hang around sinners too much. I don't think I've heard anyone say that about.
I see where you're going. I see the path you're pointing us down. You're saying the way Jesus lived his life brought a whole lot of reproach to him from, the good people, the righteous people, the leaders, the religious leaders, the in crowd, the wealthy, the powerful.
I'm
power
saying
brokers.
for believers that are fitting those categories you just listed, if they are walking, if they're following, and this is where God is, why are we not there? Why is there not an overflow of people serving in prisons or in homeless shelters? Just believers serving. I'm not saying anything about the government or services being offered, just believers recognizing that, hey, I believe God is here and I want to come be where he is. I know that where 2 or 3 are gathered, he is there. So I'm going to invite 2 or 3 other people to come be with me there. And yet, I also know that where people are hurting,
Mm-hmm.
he likes to show out. He also gives us the hands and feet to hug and to hear stories. And often we watch our stories on our phones and laptops and TVs, but don't share life. And so you and I were on the way over here, we're talking about how it used to be that everyone saw the same stories. And so there was a community of that. That's not true anymore, let alone we don't share the same stories either.
Right.
So we're losing on 2 sides. We don't have a common story, and yet in Christ we do. We should be sharing what he's done.
You often take a bent that is very practical
Sorry.
and outward, and I often take a bent that is
Inward.
internal.
Because that's typically where the church is, just so you know. And I have to push back against that because I already know that's the normal response. I know on any Sunday you can hear that.
Mm-hmm.
You should personalize it. That's fine. It needs to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's also part of...
One of the things I enjoy about this is because there's not a tension here between us.
No.
But you bring a fuller picture when we're on one of those, and then we bring the other as well because they both belong there.
We do.
John says the one who says he abides in him again being Jesus. This word abide is, I know this because I'm remembering from my translation, this is the word remain.
Mm-hmm.
And this takes us right back to John 17, where Jesus calls his disciples as he's praying for them, the high priestly prayer. He says, My prayer is for you is that you would remain in me, just as I remain in the Father. And I'm sure that John is considering that experience as he's writing this. The idea, as John described it in the gospel, that Jesus was talking about was one, we have abide here, and okay, what does abide mean? Does that mean to stay? Does that mean to live? It's not a word that we use very often.
Mm-hmm.
And even remain has a different sort of context than I think it has in the Greek.
Yeah.
When we say remain, it's just, okay, it stays there, it doesn't move. Well, John is saying something different. He's saying to live deeply and to be planted and to thrive in, to be an active member of a community that is abiding, that is remaining. When Jesus talks about this when he says, I'm the vine and you're the branches. He who abides in me will bear fruit, and I will cause his fruit to remain. And John turns from there and says, if you say this, then you ought to. This is very interesting in light of some other thinking that's going on in Christian circles that I agree with, and I think it's got good stuff. The writer Kurt Thompson, I believe, wrote the book The Soul of Shame, and one of the things that he says in the book is where you see a should, there is shame. Well, John is bringing a should here. And I don't necessarily think that John is bringing shame. What he's bringing is truth. Is there shame if I'm not living up to the truth? Well, very potentially. What there is culpability, guilt, if I'm not living up to the truth, if I'm in the wrong, sure. Is that shame? I could certainly feel that's that, and it could certainly be turned into shame that becomes its own issue to deal with, but I don't think that John is necessarily doing this as a hammer. Again, he started this by saying, my dear children. We have it translated here, my little children, my children. The word here is not just child. It's a term of endearment.
Mm-hmm.
And in the next few verses, John's going to turn to these same people that he's writing this letter to, and he's going to address them as my fathers, my brothers, my children, my little ones. There is an affection in John's writing here that I want us to keep in mind as we read this, because when he says you ought to also walk as he does if you say you follow him, that's not a stern stick. That's a gentle reminder of what's true. This is why I started by asking, are we playing follow the leader? Because John, this isn't a game, you're correct. But this is how you play follow the leader.
Mm-hmm.
If he steps on the log, you step on the log. That's what we do. That's what we're doing here. And I want to come back to where you point this down. How did Jesus step on the log? He stepped on the log by eating with the sinners, by going to the Gentiles, by going to the woman, the Samaritan woman,
mm-hmm.
who...
in her town, at her well. He did not go to the city wall and scream at her.
This is where he found himself. He didn't jump on
Send me the woman who's got...
to Walbook and start, graffitiing.
Exactly.
This woman, do you know what she did?
Send me her. I need to share some love.
Dox her.
Don't worry, I'll give her back. She'll be new.
So what did Jesus do? Jesus said this. He did not come for the healthy. He came for the sick. And he said, I only do what I see the Father doing, and I only say what I hear the Father say. The question for me at the end of today is, can I say that about myself?
Mm.
And that's my challenge to me. That's, I think, our challenge to you, dear listener.
It's a big challenge.
It is.
Please share this challenge with somebody. Yes, you can share the episode too, but share the challenge.
Obviously, we haven't asked you for money. We're not going to ask you for money. We're not doing this. We need money. We like money. Both Dave and I think that the color of money is grand, but that's not why we're doing this. We're doing this because we believe deeply that this is what's necessary in our lives and in your life. To have a life full of joy that has fruit that remains, and that's what we want for everyone and anyone who joins us with this. So that's what we're asking you to share.